Hello everyone and welcome back to What the Florida, the show where in each episode we do a deep dive into a distinctly Florida subject. I'm your host and Professional Floridian Kim, and on today's episode we're going to be discussing some of the wildlife that call Florida home. When you think of Florida, what sort of animal comes to mind? And no, I am not talking about the residents. I think I have made more than enough Florida Men videos to tell you that sometimes the wildest life are the people that reside here. There are plenty of animals that call Florida home. Of course, the most famous of the bunch is probably the American alligator, and I have an entire video on that from last year. You can check that out above. We also have bald eagles, we have white-tailed deer, we have raccoons, the brown pelican, bottlenose dolphins, armadillos, and so on. For the sake of brevity, we're just going to be focusing on 3 animals today. We'll be focusing on the Florida panther, the greater pink flamingo, and the manatee. Later in the video, we'll actually be traveling up to Blue Springs State Park to see if we can get up close and personal with some manatees, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. For now, let's talk about the Florida panther. In 1982, the Florida panther was named the state animal of Florida. It's also the mascot of the South Florida hockey team, the Florida Panthers. They're also known as puma or cougar in other places. The Florida panther lives mainly in pinelands and mixed freshwater and swamp forests in South Florida. They are the only confirmed cougar population in the eastern United States. Florida panthers are spotted at birth, and they typically have blue eyes. As the panther grows, the spots fade and the coat becomes a completely tan color, while the eyes take on a typically yellow hue. The panther's underbelly is a creamy white, and it has black tips on the tail and ears. Florida panthers lack the ability to roar and instead make distinct sounds that include whistles, chirps, growls, hisses, and purrs. This might sound very cute, but do not interact with these animals. They are very dangerous, even if they are very pretty kitties. The panther diet consists of any small animal that they can get their paws on: armadillos, mice, stork, feral pigs, even domesticated dogs and cats if they can manage. There are only a few main threats for the Florida panther, and unfortunately most of them are human related. Of course, there are always territory fights between panthers, but the biggest cause of death are vehicle collisions. When these incidents injure panthers, federal and Florida wildlife officials take them to the White Oak Conservation in Yulee, Florida for recovery and rehabilitation until they are well enough to be reintroduced into the wild. Other issues they face are habitat loss, habitat degradation, and habitat fragmentation. South Florida is a fast developing area, and certain developments, such as Ave Maria near Naples, are controversial for their location in prime panther habitat. This species is considered highly endangered, and for now, conservation efforts have worked. In the 1970s, an estimated 20 Florida panthers remained in the wild, but as of 2021, wildlife officials estimate between 120 and 230 Florida panthers remain. Still, it is up to us to ensure safe driving and voting for politicians that care about environmental conservation. We need to keep the earth safe and habitable for everyone, not just humans. So with that, let's move on to the next Florida-based animal, the American flamingo, or the pink flamingo. Believe it or not, the flamingo is not the state bird of Florida. That title is held by the northern mockingbird. Now, despite the association of flamingos with Florida, there's actually debate about whether or not the flamingo is even a native creature here. For the last century, they've been considered an invasive animal, but as recently as March 2019, there are efforts to try and declare them a Florida native. In 1900, they were nearly hunted to extinction for their skin, feathers, and for food. The only remaining flamingos seem to be in captivity, but these birds are escape artists, and so over time, flocks grew in the wild. Today, they can be found in the Everglades National Park and, of course, just about any zoo in the state. At birth, flamingos aren't pink, they're gray. They turn pink thanks to their diet of snails, shrimp, and crabs. They can grow up to 5 feet tall and have a wingspan of up to 50 inches across. In the wild, flamingos can live up to 20 years. American flamingos live in large social groups that have as many as 10,000 birds. They spend most of their day feeding, and when an area no longer provides enough food, the flamingos migrate to another location at night. Because of the debate over whether flamingos are native or not, they cannot be added to the conservation efforts or the endangered species lists. There are approximately 400 known flamingos in the wild in Florida. Moving on to our final Florida friend, the manatee. Now please excuse me while I gush for a minute. They are just absolutely the cutest. They are one of my favorite animals of all time. They're just so cute. I love their fat potato bodies, I love their little whiskers, and I love their squishy faces. I am so excited to go tonight and see them in person, up close and personal. I am so excited. Did you know that manatees have been linked to mermaids in folklore? Like, some people suggest that the fishermen who have claimed to have seen mermaids in the sea, or sirens, they were probably just seeing manatees. Ah, so cute. I'm good. Let's talk sea cows. Manatees are fully aquatic creatures that eat a mostly herbivore diet of lettuce, mangrove leaves, seagrass, and other natural vegetation. They're obviously pretty huge, up to 9 feet long in some cases, and weighing up to 1,200 pounds. They have been known to live up to about 60 years. These creatures are very slow moving and they live mainly in shallow waterways. Manatees can move freely between fresh and salt water. They also love warm water. They can't survive in water colder than 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're found in places like the Caribbean and in areas near West Africa. Natural causes of death include adverse temperatures, attacks by crocodiles on their young, and disease. However, the major cause of death for manatees are, of course, human-related, such as habitat destruction and human objects. Their slow-moving, curious nature has led to violent collisions with propeller-driven boats and ships. If you ever find yourself on a boat in a waterway and it says no wake, like this sign right here, please take that seriously. Lives may depend on it. During the winter, ocean water is colder. Manatees take refuge in rivers and springs, which makes for a really cool tourist attraction here in Florida. Today, as I said earlier, we're headed to Blue Springs State Park in Orange City, Florida. This is known as the winter home of the Florida manatee. Springs stay around 68 degrees year-round, making it a perfect place for these potato lumps to huddle together for warmth. Like I said, I'm very excited for this trip, so let's go! During manatee season, Blue Springs fills up fast, so you want to head there early to guarantee access. We actually went there around 3 in the afternoon on a Saturday. There was a long wait, but plenty of parking when we finally got into the park. On this day, there were a record number of manatees in the water. 747 was the official count. Various observation decks allow access for everyone who wants to get a glimpse. There is absolutely no swimming with the manatees allowed. Even touching and feeding them is against the law. If you aren't able to get to Florida to check out these sea cows in person, do not fear. Linked below is live cam footage from Blue Springs State Park. They have both overwater and underwater camera views so that you can see what the manatees are up to all the time. Manatees are on Florida's endangered species list, and as of this recording on January 29th, are in serious danger of starvation with the cold snap this weekend. Efforts are being made to supply the manatees the vegetation they desperately need, but the cold isn't the only thing starving these animals. The use of pesticides and other toxins that poison plants and waterways have been causing an alarming amount of manatee deaths this year. Just like the Florida panther, it is vitally important to support local conservation efforts and to vote for politicians that give a damn about our most vulnerable residents. Down below, I've linked a few organizations that you can check out and donate to if you're interested. You'll also find resource links for all the topics I've discussed today. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and subscribe for more. Leave a comment and share the video if you are feeling so generous. All of this really helps my engagement and boosts my videos in the algorithm, and I really appreciate it. As always, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!